Joe has to be one of the biggest storytellers in hip-hop, especially in the past few years. The stories are big, and you notice when he tells the story, it seems like he puts a little sauce on it. The numbers are inflated, like there was 100 people outside of my house. Well, Joe took to his IG Live to say if you don't have his Book of Jose, then you're dumb and that nothing is fabricated. Man, roll the clip.
I remember when the Book of Jose came out. If you ain't got the Book of Jose, you're dumb. You're crazy. If you love hip-hop music, if you love real ones, you need the book. If you into gangster shit, you need the book. If you into stories of redemption, of success, read the book. If you into depression and adversity, read the Book of Jose. If you're into understanding hip-hop culture from someone who lived it, breathed it, been there since day one, read the book. I mean, this shit, you can't make it up. Read the Book of Jose. You talking to a guy who was there when Big Daddy Kane brought out Jay-Z for the first time. You talking to a guy who's seen the brothers from New Jersey, the Outsiders, bring out Eminem for the first time. You're talking to a brother who's seen Biz Markie, rest in peace, shout out to Saudi Arabia, on the check-in. Saudi Arabia is on the check-in. Shout out to Biz Markie, who brought out Big Daddy Kane for the first time. You're talking to a guy who's seen Lord Finesse bring out Big L for the first time. You're talking to a guy who brought out Big Pun for the first time. I mean, man, you can't get in this hip-hop shit. I am hip-hop. Yo, bro, ain't nothing about Joe Crack Fabricated. Of course, I'm on another level, on another bracket. So, you know, people like to poke the bear, and because they know, if I shoot you, I'm brainless. If you shoot me, you're famous. What a brother to do when the streets is watching. It's simple as that. And so I wish all of you get to a level of where you can't really justify throwing your shit away.
Now, if anyone knew Joe back in the days from his childhood, I would say it's Charlie Rock LD. Charlie could verify certain things about his life in the streets. When I interviewed Charlie, he spoke a lot about the stories in Joe's Book of Jose.
Fat Joe also wrote in his Book of Jose, which dropped last month, and he talks all about Charlie Rock. He calls me C, but everybody know who the hell C is. And he has 100 stories on how I was the one that showed him the street life, and I gave him his first burner, how I taught him the ropes. You know, he was my son. I had him under the wing. You know, I would never get him in trouble. You know, once I showed him how to rob people, from there we went into the drug game, and, you know, and he used to be my little runner. You know, I took care of Joe, man. Joe can't say no negative shit about Charlie Rock, man. Again, in his book, he has a story where there was 100 guys in front of his building, and he called me, and Charlie popped up 20 minutes later looking like the Terminator, aired shit out. Again, Book of Jose, this is what your boy is saying about Charlie Rock. You know what you young boys like to call receipts. Your boy got plenty receipts, yo. Joe was never about that life. Joe was my little brother. I would shield him away from, you know, he even says again in the Book of Jose, Fat Joe goes on to mention that him and Tony Montana, who Tone became a G in his own right, who got murdered and got shot 8 times in the chest. Again, in his book, Joe says that while him and Tone was running around beating people up and on that type of level, Charlie Rock was already into the gunplay. I was doing heists. I was sticking up McDonald's and supermarkets. I mean, this is what he's saying in his book, word for word. And it's the truth. You know, Joe was not putting in that work. Once I got arrested, him and Tone stepped up and they made some money. But as far as like that, being a gangster and putting in work, Joe was never known for that. You know what I mean? he'll beat somebody up or whatever, but there's different levels of putting in work. You know what I mean? And those that know, you know what I mean? It is what it is.
Because in the book of Jose, he makes it seem like he has this reputation for going on other people's blocks and like taking their corners. And OGs were looking at him like he was a problem.
We must be talking about a different Fat Joe. Oh shit. Joe's crazy. You know what I mean? Like, I guess he feels he's a superstar, a household name, and he could just say whatever the fuck he wants. You know what I mean? And he forgets that there's people that know him and me from back then, and know the truth. And that's not the truth, my man. You know what I mean? No way.
Because he tells a story of someone wanted to kill him like 8 times in one day, like wanted to fight him.
I heard that story. He also said he had beef with some dude named Boy George. Let me tell you a little science on Boy George. The dude Boy George was the first, well, not the first, but one of the most known drug kingpins in the Bronx. This guy was 18 years old, multi-millionaire status. The dude was so lethal that he got locked up in 1988. What year are we in today, Panda?
2023.
And the boy is still locked up.
Damn.
Since 1988. I believe they gave him a triple life bid. Again, Boy George was a kingpin. He himself wasn't putting in the work, but when you got that type of money, you got murderers on your payroll. So nobody would mess with George. Like, it's crazy for Fat Joe to say he had beef with George. Like, I couldn't believe it. I had to air him out. He said he had beef with another dude named Calderon. Calderon was the crazy, crazy extortionist. The only one that was extorting Boy George. And I just finished telling you about Boy George. You know what I mean? And Joe had the balls to say he had beef with Calderon. Like, you wildin'. How you gonna say some shit like that? Again, I guess he's rich and famous, and he forgets that there's people from back then that know the truth, my man.
So y'all let me know what y'all think about this, man. Do you think any of the stories are fabricated? Put your thoughts down in the comments and make sure you like and subscribe and stay connected with Panda Chop News. Peace.